more people stay stuck, not because they don't know what to do, but because they won't do the obvious and do it well. Let me explain this a little bit. Part of my job as a coach is to actually get people to do the obvious things. And when you speak to people, you realize most people know what to do. You say, hey, how to increase your numbers in your business? Well, I could probably do this, this, and this. Okay, why aren't you? You could make your relationships better. Well, how could you do that? Oh, I could do this, this, and this. Okay, so why aren't you? And what you find is that most people have the resources within them already, but they don't do the obvious things. So why is that? So a big part of what I do is to actually try to peel back those layers and find the highest points of leverage that people can move those levers. We all have 24 hours in a day. You have the same 24 hours as I do, as Steve Jobs did, as Elon Musk does, as any high performer out there does. We all have 24 hours. So the whole myth of, well, I just need to work harder and I'll get more done. I just need this. I just need that. You hear people say this, and it's always what follows the just. If I could just work harder, if I could just work whatever. And it turns out it's largely a degree of finding the right levers to pull to how to get bigger outputs for smaller inputs. That's leverage, or one form of leverage. And so that's what I focus on a lot. I talk about leverage a lot. And getting people to do the obvious is about recognizing the big levers to pull that aren't always sexy. They're not always the thing. Everybody wants to do all the sexy stuff. Everybody sees it on social media. Oh, let's just do all the front end stuff. But nobody wants to do the back end stuff. Nobody wants to do the stuff that, it's kind of boring. It can be boring having to do some of those things. It can be boring having to, call people or having to enter information into a database or whatever it may be. But those simple things, or having to delegate, you may find that to be really boring. And it kind of can be boring to delegate versus being in a creative flow, trying to do something yourself. But it also frees you up to hire other people, to get other people to maximize things. It may be boring to do so many of these things, but that's part of it. That's doing the obvious. And it's a big thing that holds people back. Just do the obvious and start to win. It's literally that. Do the obvious, start to win. So I don't know. If you look at people in general and you look at psychology, the majority of people aren't going to do the obvious. They say, oh, well, I wish I could have more money, or I wish I had more time, or I wish I had more freedom. Okay, well, what are 3 things you could do to do that? And they'll proceed to tell you exactly what they should do. Okay, why aren't you doing that? Well, I don't know. I just felt like laying on my couch. Oh, I don't know. I just, felt like being a bum. Oh, I don't know. I just, I had all this other work to do. Hold on. So you mean to tell me that you could do these 3 things and free yourself up of all that work? Matter of fact, you're doing redundant daily activities that actually don't bring you closer to the life that you want, to the relationships that you want, the freedom that you want, to the life that you want, even though you know what to do. And that's why people hire a coach. I mean, flat out. Yes, they have beliefs, limiting beliefs around those things that create fear. They create doubt. That's part of that as well. Getting people on truth, getting people to a place of certainty. And when you get to a degree of certainty, boom, stuff snaps into place. Why does it snap into place like that? Well, if you were absolutely certain that if you did those 3 things, that you would have the life that you want, you'd probably actually do them. What actually holds people back is they think, well, I could probably do these 3 things, but I'm kind of fearful of it. Or I have some doubt that it would work. Because maybe I do these 3 things, maybe my life gets better, maybe it doesn't. Or they have some fears. Well, okay, if I do these 3 things, like, let's say one of them is lose weight, because that's a common theme for me. People, I help people get in shape just because I've figured some stuff out here. Even though I primarily deal in self-development, like total life recreation, I just, ground up, try to rebuild people's lives. But fitness is a great place to start. So oftentimes people, they have fear over getting fit. Maybe they're heavy set and all of their friends are heavy set. And all of a sudden they're the person that gets in shape. Well, now their friends are joking around with them. Oh, now you're too good for us. Now you've gotten hot. Now now you're looking good. Now you can't have the ice cream like we can. And you're like, yeah, but dude, I get laid fucking 5 times as much. I'm starting to make more. I have better self-esteem. But people are afraid to lose their friends. They're afraid to be judged. They're afraid for all the repercussions that come from this positive thing. And misery loves company. I mean, they would rather be stuck where they're at with their friends versus travel into this unknown territory, and then they risk losing their friends. They risk losing all of this approval. They risk all of this stuff that they've built their ego around. And so they have fear about that. I mean, legitimately so, because I've seen it happen time and time again, where you make these changes, those friends got to go, man. And, other things have to go. Oftentimes you can do that. You start performing at your company at a higher level, you've got higher energy, and you're like, dude, you know what? I just realized I was settling in my fitness, and I realized I've been settling in my job as well. And I'm not actually satisfied with that, because honestly, I'm an A-level player stuck in a C-level opportunity. And that's just not where or who I want to be. So then you've got to go find another job because you're out of integrity. You realize, hey, this is not working for me. And so that's another thing. And so all of these things will hold people back. And it's just doing the obvious so many times more than not. It's just doing the obvious. Give me a second here, guys. I got to pass this truck. Woo! The obvious matters. And when you can do the obvious, you just win. So in my business, I spend an inordinate amount of time trying to find the levers that I can pull that will generate the maximum return. And so I was having a conversation the other day with somebody, and they were like, oh, well, what about sales here? What about sales there? And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. But I'm not operating off of a week-long or a month-long timeline. My timeline is in years. Like, my timeline is actually a decade out as far as how I view it. And that really determines, to a large degree, the strategy that I'm going to take. And most people are so stuck in a 1 week or a 2 week or a month strategy ahead because they don't have fucking $300 sitting in their bank account. They're literally paycheck to paycheck. I mean, I have people message me and legitimately they're like, hey, I'm gonna buy your book when I get paid next, at my next paycheck. How the fuck do you live like that? Seriously, how do you live like that? I'm going to buy this when I get paid next. Dude, couldn't do it. It's preposterous to me. And so everybody's stuck in scarcity. Everybody's stuck in these things, and they haven't figured out how to get out of it. And chances are it's literally just doing the obvious. Oh, you're stuck trading time for money. You're getting paid $30 an hour and it sucks, or $40 an hour. You know what? $40 an hour is what? Like 80 grand a year? Something like that? I mean, it's not a lot of money with inflation, with how much stuff has gone by, guys. Like, that's, like, you're pretty poor. If you're making $80,000 a year, like, to me, that's poor. I don't know how people survive on that, honestly. Like, I just don't. And I'm not saying this to be mean or rude or anything else. I'm just like, it baffles me that people do this. And so what's the major issue to solve? You talk to somebody, and they're like, well, I guess I would have to go out there and try to find another job. And I'm like, okay, well, rather than trying to find another job at 80,000, what What if your next job was a 50% increase? That would take you to 120,000. That's substantial. If that's your next thing, if you want to level up like that, maybe you want to go into something that's a vertical that you can make $250,000 to $500,000 a year in. Sales is a great example. I mean, I was talking to another guy the other day. He was telling me I think he made like 125,000 in a week, something like that. I mean, like pretty remarkable, you know. And he's in solar sales, man. Like that's insane. So you've got to look at your current opportunity vehicle. And if you're an A-level player, but you're not in a vertical, well, where you can be rewarded for that, it's obvious. What do you have to do? You have to go get in a different vertical. Okay. Well, most people just go start searching for the vertical versus saying, if I was going to be in that vertical and if I was going to be the top dog in that vertical, what are the skills that I would need to have? Go start building those. What are those skills? It's obvious. Literally, it's obvious. You say, oh, I don't know. Okay, go find somebody who's the top. Go look at the top 5 people. Go buy the top 5 fucking books or whatever it may be. What are the skills? What are the common denominators? Dude, you can probably build those skills over 3 months' time and be in the top 20% within 6 to 9 months. Seriously, it's remarkable. And it's obvious. And so many people know this. It's upsetting. And it's probably upsetting to people that are going to watch this because they'll be like, yeah, you know, why haven't I done this? Yeah, why haven't you? It's obvious, dude. Do the obvious. Do the obvious and win. Like, I don't know how many more times to say this, you know, and it's part of finding leverage. It's part of getting on truth. It's part of, you know, breaking past those beliefs. You know, if you only believe you're worth 80,000 a year, well, it's very difficult to go make more. But, you know, these things don't happen in isolation. You don't just sit there and woo your way into fucking, you know, millions of dollars. You don't sit around, I'm worth $1 million. I'm worth $1 million. You know, you got to look at the beliefs. Yeah, it's helpful. Journal on them when you can. Do some work on them. But at the same time, go out there and fucking make a lot more money. And then look in the mirror and be like, I did this. Yeah, that was me. I am worth this. And slowly, you'll start a virtuous cycle upwards where you do feel like you're worth it. You do understand that you have those skills. And you'll realize that when you put all that work in, you'll look back a year from now and you'll be like, holy cow, I put so much work in. I outdid everyone else. I absolutely, you know, deserve this. I absolutely am worth this. Whether you deserve it or not, that's a different conversation. But I am worth this. And you are. And you can be. And what I would tell you today is you probably know 3 obvious things that you could be doing, you should be doing, that if you did, your life would take a massive change for the better if you just do them. So go do those things, make it really easy, make it really simple on yourself, go do those things, and then watch your life change. Like, find the levers to pull. It's 80-20, man, 90-10. Find the lever that you can have a 10% input and have a 90% output. I promise you they are there. If you're struggling to find those, ask bigger questions. No matter how preposterous, no matter how audacious, no matter how out of this world, ask bigger questions. Your brain is a meaning-making machine, and it will solve for answers that you give it. So give it really big, crazy, wild questions, and you will come up with some remarkable answers, and those answers will change your life. Guys, hope this helps. Be great.